Hope you're doing well. I'm feeling better, and your back's feeling better. Is actually a question from Nate who couldn't be with us. I wrote it down, but I wrote it in Nate's handwriting, so I hope I can read it. But Nate from Fayetteville wants to know how much does it help when a respected senior like Ty Clary, doesn't start at the beginning of the year, the job he had the last 2 years, but stays bought in and then is able to contribute at a different position like he has a guard.
Yeah, I think big time. We've had different injuries and COVID-related cases and things of that nature, and quarantines on the offensive line over the year, over the course of the year. And with him staying with us, he's one of our top 5 players. There's not a doubt in my mind. And with him, I think he's a better guard than he was a center. And with him buying in, it's huge for our program. And we're going to try to get him to come back next year.
Jason?
Hey, Coach, I wonder how much you guys can use the motivation, whether it's you for playing for you, playing for Coach Odom, playing for Felipe. How much do you use that motivation, and how much do you try to make sure that the team doesn't overcompensate for some of those things and go out and play their kind of game?
Yeah, it's a good question. We haven't used it at all, to be honest with you. I found over my years that you really don't need to announce reasons to get fired up, because the kids already know, they already understand. Some of them will want to play for Felipe and this, that, and the other, but really I just want them to play for each other. And but obviously everybody knows about Felipe not going to, was at Florida, and we want him to play well when he goes back, but we'd want him to play well if he was playing, Texas A&M again, so we don't use that too much. I think the kids probably use it amongst themselves for whatever reason they deem.
Tom?
Sam, I'm interested in how you're feeling and how the isolation's going for you.
I'm feeling good. I'm getting better, I think. I'm trying to walk 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon in between, meetings and media and things of that nature. And I think it's helping me. I'm drinking a vegetable mix that kind of almost instantly helps me. I drink one in the morning and one in the evening. But I think I'm better than I ever have been during this. I feel like every day I just get a little bit better and a little bit better. And I'm excited to hopefully be through, the worst part of it.
So your official first day back, if all goes well, would it be Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday. Yeah, okay. Wednesday. It'll be day 11, basically. 1 dead day, 1 0 day, and 10 plus.
Ty?
Sam, a lot of people have given you credit for the staff you assembled. I wonder, when you were an assistant coach and you were thinking about potentially a head coach, did you have like a list of guys that you wanted to hire when you ended up with Riles, Cooper, Odom, and just the assistant list that you compiled?
That's really a great question. I think folks talk about, well, I hadn't been a head coach before and this, that, and that. But one of the great things, I had been a head coach. I'd been in high schools and a junior college. And what I learned from that experience was that the hiring process of coaches is the most important thing you can do. It really is, because anybody who thinks, hey, me is wrong. It takes all of us. And so now, whenever you go into a meeting, an interview, you need to have a list of candidates that you can get, not Fantasy Island, ones that you can get. And it helps if you know about them, because then you can talk to Hunter, you can talk to whomever you're interviewing with and say, yeah, I can get this guy. And I was very honest with Barry. I said, he's had a head coaching job offered to him. I think he wants to come to Arkansas with me if that deems appropriate, if I get the job, but can't guarantee it, but he'd be the top on the list. And really, most of the guys that we have here were the top guys on the list. Now Kendall, that was a different story because I knew that I wasn't real comfortable with exactly who I was going to hire on offense. And so we interviewed 3 guys. He happened to be one of them. I didn't know him, and that's a little scary. Obviously, it's not now because he's a wonderful guy, a great coordinator. He elected to hire Cooper. I told Barry and I told Kendall if they would take the job that they could, I wanted to meet them and talk to them and all those things, but they would have one hire on that staff just to have somebody familiar with what they do on both sides of the ball and familiarize with those guys as far as people. And I trusted them. And of course, Sam Carter and John Cooper are outstanding coaches as well. So that's kind of how that went. But it's the importance to me is starting a program is who you are around. And I was really fortunate in being able to hire the right people.
Nikki?
Coach, when you watch the tape of practice this week, has it looked up to your standard? And I was also wondering if you knew the Kentucky offensive line coach that passed away.
Let's start with I have watched practice. And, Nikki, it's just different because it might look the same as what it looked before, but I was there, and I'm a big stop practice in the middle of practice. If I don't like something, call them up, and this has, this is not what we're going to look like today. Every rep that we continue to look like this is wasted. And I think we had our moments on both sides of the ball. I think our defense has practiced well. Offense, a little bit loose with the ball on Tuesday and a little better yesterday. We're a little more beat up on offense than we are defense. So I have to take that in consideration. And if I was at practice, I probably wouldn't think a whole lot of it, but it's got to get better. It'll get better today. We've got good guys on the good players on that side of the ball. They'll clean it up. And yes, I did know Coach there at Kentucky. I didn't know him well. I had a lot of respect for him. Ironically, I just got a text from a guy I know that lives 5 doors down from Coach's house, and they had spoke about me, which was amazing to me. And the guy had asked me to maybe reach out to the family, and I sure as heck will do that. But I just know this, that if you listen to what his kids said about him, that's how you rate a coach. I mean, how about the way that all of the kids talk about the way that he treats them and the way that he coached them? And I listened to some of that. It was emotional. And I'm very sad and certainly praying for his family. But from what I understand, I know one thing: he's a heck of a football coach, and from what I understand, he's a heck of a man.
Trey?
Hey, Coach. Glad to hear you're feeling better. A question about how things will work on Saturday with Coach Odom being down on the field. Who's going to replace him up in the booth? Just how do you guys plan on doing that? And also, when is the last time that you'll be able to address the team? What do you think you'll say to them? And when's the first time after the game that you'll be able to address them?
Well, I haven't thought about the after game deal, to be honest with you. I'm pretty much giving this game over. After I'm going to talk to him tomorrow at the normal time when I usually have we'll Zoom that in when I usually have my talk. Some coaches talk players, some team, guys have before they get on the bus meetings, all that. I don't. I talk to them Friday, and then I talk to them basically right before we go out to the game. And I'm talking about as a team. Obviously, I talk to them all the time when we're going to movies or eating or whatever it may be. I'll handle everything up until obviously, I'll have my meeting with the coaching staff on Saturday morning, and then after that, we're going to turn that thing over to the coaches, and Barry's going to be the voice of our team, letting them right before the game and certainly at halftime and then post game. I just think it's unfair for Barry. It's unfair for the coaching staff if I continue to stick my head in there when I'm not there. At some point, the kids got to believe in who's there, and I'm going to cut that cord. I'm going to cut that cord on Friday sometime in the afternoon.
Hutch.
Somebody's muted. Talk real slow. I might can figure out what you're asking.
Hutch will come back. Kyle.
Hey, Coach, along the lines of Trey's question, I think some coaches who have been diagnosed with the virus have sort of hidden from public sight a little bit, and yet you've done all your daily media stuff this week. I wonder why you wanted to do that, and if Barry kind of wanted to step in as well as a former head coach.
Okay, I heard the first part. You said, why did I want to
As
do
far as
the media?
still doing your daily media stuff every day, because I think some coaches who have been diagnosed with the virus have sort of hidden from public sight.
Well, to be honest with you, I tested positive with COVID twice, and I want people to know that you can. I mean, you don't want to be this, but you can be this. COVID. You have to attack it, and there's different things. It attacks people different ways, but I have it, and here I am, and we're going to be okay, I believe. And the other thing is that, and I know other people haven't been as fortunate as me either. I don't want to sound that way, but honestly, people have texted me and tweeted me and this from everywhere. It's kind of unbelievable. And for me to be in front of people, they're able to see that I'm okay. And it's another way to just answer questions that so many people have reached out. And so that's part of it. And then the other question you had, Kyle?
Did Barry have any sort of inkling as far as wanting to do all the media stuff, or is he pretty happy just to focus on football this week?
No, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was positive for our football team to take one hell of a defensive coordinator away to talk to the media. I didn't think that's the best way for us to beat Florida. And remember, we're in a win business now. So however we decided after I got the COVID how to go beat Florida the best way we had, that's what we decided to do. And what I didn't want to do is add any extra responsibilities on Barry that we didn't have to. And then obviously he has to, and he wants to speak to the rest of the team before we run out. And he has to talk to the media at the game, and he has to address the media at halftime. And he has to make calls during the game. But other than that, I want him to be the defensive coordinator because that's the best chance we have to win.
Hutch.
I think I got it unfrozen. Coach, I saw where Micah Smith tweeted the other day he had surgery. Could you maybe fill us in on what he had done and kind of what the timeline is? He out for the year?
I can just tell you that he's out for the year. Yes, he's out for the year. We've been going back and forth. Mike has, had a couple of injuries, and we've been going back and forth on, how long we basically could hold out and him not get hurt worse. And then, he really couldn't go back-to-back practices. And so we decided, hey, why don't we just go ahead and get this fixed? So that's what we did. He good kid, by the way.
Hayden.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Good to see you're feeling better. Just with all of the postponements this weekend in the league, and you guys are one of the few teams actually still playing this weekend. I know COVID has been reminded to everybody to wear masks and socially distance, but with so many games postponed and really the league saying that there is some concern with the rest of the year, have you emphasized any more to your guys about, see, guys, games can be taken away, that nothing's guaranteed, or is it still sort of that same message that you've been preaching all season?
No, we've had COVID cases, this year. It just happened to be the head coach got it this time. I mean, we've had COVID cases, we've had quarantines, we've had different sports on campus that were, quarantined and had COVID and different things. So we've been pretty open with our players about the expectations and again, that's a little bit why it's embarrassing, because I got it. I have no idea how I got it, but it's hard to be a leader and say, hey, we can't get this, and I get it. And so that's the embarrassing part of it, but we haven't done a whole lot more than what we've done in the past. We've obviously talked about it, and it's come up simply because I've tested positive. So not a lot. The other teams, we feel like we're doing it better than anybody else in the league because, we've been just status quo, keep going. And some other teams, unfortunately, have had to cancel out. So we're going to just keep doing what we've been doing.
Bob?
Hey, Sam, I was reading, Kyle's fine bio on you in the media guide, and you were an All-American defensive end at Pitt State, that same position Eric Gregory had. I was wondering, did you ever have an interception as a gorilla or in high school or anywhere? We were talking to Eric the other night. He said he hadn't had one since Pee Wee. It was a big dream of his to get one. Just wondered, as a former DN, kind of your thoughts on that, and if you ever had one.
Well, sure. I played the position, and sure, I had an interception. That's what you do, sacks, no. I did pick an interception my freshman year in the Moelia Shrine Bowl game. Bob, you really have some unique questions, by the way. But in the Moelia Shrine Bowl game, it was in Kirksville, Missouri. I think it was in Kirksville. And I think we played Northeast Missouri State. Now it's called Truman State. It was the Moelia Shrine Bowl, I'm for sure. And it was
You might have to spell Moelia for me.
Moila, I think.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, so I picked a pass. I run it back for a touchdown too, by the way, with the speed that I had, and a lot of blocks, by the way. But somebody got called for clipping, so it got called back. So that was my time to shine.
But with you playing the same position as Eric, can you kind of appreciate what a big thrill that was for him?
I don't really know what position I was playing. I drop back and pass. He doesn't. So, they called it defensive end. I think it's more like kind of an outside stand-up linebacker. It's basically whoever they were trying to hide on the team. They had to put 11 out there, so they threw me out there. They was just trying to hide me, and I got in the way and caught a pass. Yeah, I'm sure it was a thrill for him. It was more than me because I didn't even know he picked a pass during the game. It was 4th down, and it was a great play by him. But I just thought it was 4th down. They threw an incompletion with a roll.
Hey, Coach, I wonder, all those walks that you took with Barry, how much – I know you had confidence in him as a defensive coordinator and seen what he did as a head coach. I just wonder what you took from all those walks that shows the confidence you have in him this week, and just some of those conversations that you two had preparing possibly for this moment that he's going to have on Saturday.
Well, let's say this. He has experience, and he was always afraid to play Missouri. So, for those 4 years he was a head coach, you knew they were going to be prepared. The greatest thing I know about Barry Odom is whenever they had that probation up there, obviously before he was there, the reasons for the probation, and every one of his seniors could have transferred and been immediately eligible, and none of them did. It says what you need to know about Barry Odom. You know, Barry Odom was hired for this particular reason here, and a lot of reasons, but for this day, if something happens, you know, and different things, the next guy up would be Kendall Browse. And I'll tell you this, if Kendall was Barry this week, he'd do a great job too. I mean, I'm just very, very blessed with two great coordinators along with Fountain on the special team. But I just, you know, he's done it before. He's been good at it before. You know, he got fired with a bowl eligible team. So, I mean, he's done it before. He's won 8 games at Missouri. And so, you know, I just got to get out of the way and let him do his thing on Saturday. And that's what I'm going to do.
Tom?
Sam, as of yesterday, you said there were no other positives in the program. Do you have an update on that? And will any guys miss the game due to quarantining or anything like that?
Yeah, we may have a guy or two prior to this week. Nothing to do with our football program, but maybe outside exposure. But that's normal. That we've had that happen all the time, every week. Thursday will be the test today, so we'll get the test back in the morning. So as of right now, we have no positives on our football team, and we'll see what the tests say in the morning. But hopefully it'll be the same way. You cross your fingers and hold your breath every week on this test, especially. Of course, the Sunday test is big because, you know, it's early in the week and you have, especially if you're on the road flying, you know. But I think we're going to be okay. We'll have to wait and see what the test results say in the morning.
Ty?
Sam, we've had a lot of listeners at the radio station. Really appreciate your apparel. You're representing the old Razorback logo now. You've worn the sweater hog, the slobbering hog. Are those like T-shirts and polos you've been getting for the university, or are you going to somewhere special store in the, you know, in Arkansas, or where are you ordering those from, man?
My friend, this one here, I got 2 given to me, and they had the A with the hog, you know, going through it. And this one here, I think the equipment room got this for me. I'm not positive. I have not gone. Well, I have too, but I went down to the bookstore, whatever, maybe bought a couple things. Not the bookstore, but somewhere else. But I don't know where I got this particular logo. I like this one too. But anyway, I'm not a huge, you know, the face, where the face going there, just the face. I'm not a huge, I don't like that one as much as I do these others, but I'll wear it if it's free. I'll put it on and rock it.
Last one, Hutch.
Yeah, Sam, this is a little bit random, but I noticed the last couple of weeks your kickoff coverage unit has like half of the units true freshmen, and I know a lot of other freshmen have played on special teams. You know, is that kind of one of those benefits of this being a free year for everyone? And how much do you think that helps those guys, even though they're not maybe necessarily playing offense or defense down the line?
Do you see when Vito kicks off and when he kicks it out of the end zone? Do you see where I'm at every single time? I meet him almost on the hash mark. I'm so excited because he needs to kick that ball out. Part of COVID, part of youth, part of all that. But we're not really interested in them, you know, returning kicks on us. So we're trying to kick it out of there. It is a youthful kickoff team. That doesn't mean you can't be good, but it is youthful. It's got good speed on that team. You know, not many people have returned balls on us because of Vito, but if they do, I think we'll be ready. And, you know, freshmen become a little older each time they get out there. So we'll see, because Tony, I think he'll try to return it 7-8 yards deep. He's good. He should.
All right, that'll wrap us up. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everybody.